This is KGW News at 11.
And we begin tonight with a tornado near Sandy. The National Weather Service says it hit in Cherrysville at about 4:45 last night. It was a weak one, but it caused some minor damage. This view is from drone footage of the area. This is near Sandy. The tornado traveled just under a mile and was 250 yards wide. It's been categorized as an EF0 tornado, and that means it hit speeds ranging from 65 to 85 miles per hour. We want to bring in Daisy Caballero joining us now from the Weather Center. And Daisy, tell us a little bit about what the impacts are from this tornado.
Well, yeah, Brittany, you gave us a really good run through of kind of what that categorizes. But again, this is one of the weakest tornadoes that is on the scale from the National Weather Service. Like you just said, ranging between 65 to around 85 mile per hour winds. Again, minor damage, maybe some tree limbs coming down, branches in and around the area, but again, nothing too significant. Now, this happened right around 4:45 today, and like you said, in Cherryville near Sandy, which is right around 12-ish miles south from Gresham. So again, we're going to keep a very close eye for you all at home and to kind of follow up on what the damage was, if they did see any damage. But looking at our current temperatures right now here in the Portland metro area, 51 degrees, winds coming out from the east at right around 7 miles per hour. A very calm night tonight. And as we're looking at our satellite and radar, this big green blob is making its way closer to our coast and into our inland areas within the next few hours. I'm predicting right around midnight or maybe 1 in the morning is what we're expecting for this system to push along the valley, and we can start to see some traces of that rain. But looking at our other current temperatures right now, again, really starting to cool down, ranging into those upper 40s and lower 50s. 50 again right now here in the Portland metro area, also 50 near Kaiser and Salem as well. But we'll go ahead and talk about that 7-day forecast and what else you need to know about this work week coming up in just a little bit.
Yeah, fall is certainly here. All right, thanks so much, Daisy. Well, new tonight, a Camas man out trail running in the gorge was found dead after an extensive search on the Pacific Crest Trail this weekend. Hood River County Sheriff's deputies started their search Friday night after Nicholas Wells' wife reported her husband hadn't come back from a trail run. He had been keeping in touch with her throughout the day, saying at one point he had lost the trail but then found it again. When she couldn't get a hold of him hours later, she called for help. Saturday morning, new search teams, an airplane with the Sheriff's Department, and a Black Hawk helicopter from the Oregon National Guard were sent out. At about 1 this morning, crews found Wells's body at the bottom of an 80-foot cliff about a mile from the freeway.
We needed them to show up tonight, and we know obviously it's been a tough year for the players and for the fans, but you know, for them staying in the stands and really supporting us is really why we've been able to pull through this game.
Pure elation at Providence Park today. The Portland Thorns outplayed the San Diego Wave, earning themselves a trip to the National Women's Soccer League Championship game. And today's semifinal game was the Thorns' first match since an investigation uncovered a toxic culture of abuse within the Thorns organization. All of it leading to a shakeup in leadership and calls for owner Merritt Paulson to sell both the Thorns and the Timbers. Mike Benner was at Providence Park today to see how fans are responding.
The scene outside Providence Park more than 2 hours before kickoff against San Diego. The Thorns faithful showing love to the players as they arrive for the big semifinal match.
I hope they can feel it because it's a lot that they've been through and that this whole community's been through, and I hope they feel the love.
That enthusiasm carried over to game time. The atmosphere inside the stadium, electric, with a trip to the National Women's Soccer League Championship on the line.
It's important for me to be here for the players. That's what the players said that they wanted. So, I mean, I've been a season ticket holder since the first season. So, I've been through the ups and downs with this club.
The downs she's referring to is why there was no telling how many fans would show up Sunday. But in the end, they showed up for their Thorns, and they did so in a big way.
They need our support. They need each other. They need to know that they're loved and valued.
And perhaps that's never been more important than it is right now. less than 2 weeks removed from Merritt Paulson removing himself as CEO of the Thorns and Timbers. The shakeup at the top of both soccer clubs came after an international law firm released the findings of a months-long investigation into allegations of abuse in the NWSL. The investigation revealed a toxic culture of sexual, emotional, and verbal abuse across the league and within the Thorns organization. Former coach Paul Riley was to blame for a lot of that. But the investigation also showed patterns of misconduct by Merritt Paulson and front office staffers Gavin Wilkinson and Mike Golub, who have since been dismissed.
We as the fans, I think, as a whole are calling for change in ownership if that's something that we can put pressure on them to do. But the players said, hey, we want you guys here. We want you to support us. So that's what we're here to do. We're certainly not here to support ownership.
That much was clear with all of the for sale signs in the stands. Whether Paulson eventually caves to that public pressure remains to be seen. What is clear is that Sunday was all about supporting the players on the pitch, and it paid off. The Thorns' Crystal Dunn putting one in the back of the net with mere minutes left in regulation.
We support these players. They've been incredible through a lot of stress and just turmoil.
No doubt about it, the players have been through a lot, but fans suggest to me they too have been through a lot these last few weeks. The Thorns punching their ticket to the NWSL championship game is certainly special for players and fans alike. Reporting at Providence Park, I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
Now to Eugene, where an 11-year-old and her family are receiving death threats after her performance at a drag queen story time at a local pub. A protest today shut down roads in the area for hours. The dozens of people who showed up to rally against the event were met by roughly 200 counter-protesters. It was happening here at Old Nick's Pub. Police say there were a number of physical altercations. Objects were thrown and at least one person was pepper sprayed. Someone else was taken to the hospital, but we don't know what for at this point. The event drew criticism from some on social media after posts indicated that the 11-year-old would be a featured performer.
You don't see trans story hour, you don't see gay man story hour, lesbian story hour. You just see drag queen story hour. And I believe this is about the sexual citizenship of children that they're fighting for.
There's nothing else, nothing nefarious, nothing, the drag queen might do a lip sync number to like a Disney song, but that's kind of the extent of the event.
The 11-year-old's family released a statement Thursday before the event saying she has been performing for several years, adding she enjoys doing so and was excited to take part in the event. We want to get you caught up now on what's making headlines around the world tonight. The Republican National Committee has filed a lawsuit against tech giant Google. The RNC says the company has been suppressing its email solicitations ahead of November's midterm elections, claiming the emails are being sent to spam folders in pivotal swing states. In a statement, Google denies the charges, saying they do not filter emails based on political affiliation. Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson will not be running for re-election. He made that announcement earlier today, saying he failed to make deals with other prominent leaders of the Conservative Party. That job is up for grabs because Boris's successor, Liz Truss, resigned on Thursday after a failed economic plan. Britain's next prime minister could be announced as soon as Monday. Today in Germany, climate protesters threw mashed potatoes at a Claude Monet painting to protest fossil fuel extraction. The two activists were both wearing orange high-visibility vests, and they also glued themselves to the wall below the painting. The protesters are part of a group whose name translates to Last Generation. The group has called on the German government to take drastic action to protect the climate and stop using fossil fuels. The food did not damage the artwork since it was enclosed behind glass. In London, you may remember a different activist group protesting the cost of oil through tomato soup at a Vincent van Gogh painting earlier this month. Kids, teens, and young adults got a lesson on four wheels from the pros today in Portland. But a love of skateboarding isn't the only thing that brought them together. Each participant is blind or visibly impaired. Today's clinic was hosted by the Northwest Association for the Blind and Adidas. Christelle Kumwe introduces us to the skater inspiring these young athletes.
I skateboard a lot.
Dan Mancina's love for the sport started at a young age.
Yeah, I've skated since I was a little kid.
He wanted to turn skateboarding into a career.
Took a couple years off when I lost my sight.
By the age of 23, an eye disease took Dan's sight. That cut short his dreams and led to periods of depression as he faced his new reality.
And then, eventually realized that I should just do what I want to do and not really to be dictated by what other people might think I should do or can do.
He trained and learned to use a cane while skateboarding. Now the athlete is sponsored by Adidas and has become an inspiration to people around the world.
It's kind of my goal to share my love and passion for skateboarding and do my part to introduce kids to everything they possibly can.
That's why he teamed up with the Northwest Association for Blind Athletes, Adidas, and other sponsors to host a skateboard clinic for blind and visually impaired youngsters in the Portland area. About 20 participants, ages 10 to 21, got a chance to build their own skateboards and learn basic skills like stand, balance, and push from the pros.
I love skateboarding. There's this pro that I skateboard with, and she's awesome.
Gwen and Miracle are best friends who got to share their first skateboarding experience together.
We had so much fun.
Everyone went home with their own board, helmet, shoes, and
got to learn a new, very cool move.
Some new tricks.
I think that feels very amazing, and I feel so good about myself now that I know that I could probably be like these other talented skateboarders.
Inspiring new skills and a love for skateboarding.
Blind and changing how people see.
Christelle Kumwe, KGW News.
Ahead here at